Hi, everybody. Welcome to Green Bay Area Public School District's Our GBAPS Story. I'm Vicki Bayer, Superintendent of Schools and Learning. Our next guest is one of those students who's reaching for the stars. Grant Shaurette is a senior at East High School, and he'll be graduating from the Automotive Maintenance Technician program at City Stadium Automotive. He will have earned 26 college credits and a one-year NWTC technical diploma. Grant, it's really great to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you. It was a great opportunity to come down here.
I heard that you coming here today is a result of you wearing pajamas to school one morning.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So it was one of those days where I assumed I had nothing going on, really. And that was the truth behind it. I was like, oh, it's one of these days I can get into school, get out, have a calm day, go home and relax. And I walk into school, and Miss Lip had walked up to me and said, hey, Grant, I've got this really cool opportunity, and I choose you. And I was like, okay. I was like, right, here we go. And she said that there was going to be this great podcast opportunity, and I was going to get to speak up about not only my story, but other stories around me. And I was like, well, yes, of course, I'll take it.
And here you are.
Yeah, but let me change my outfit first, pretty much, was my first thought. I was wearing some baggy pajamas and a ripped-up hoodie, but...
Yeah. So, listeners, stick a pin in the part about him saying that it was going to be a calm day with nothing going on, because when you hear what Grant does in a regular day, I think you're going to be shocked that he felt it was going to be a calm one. Tell us about yourself.
I go to Green Bay East High School. I've also completed NWTC Automotive. I currently am in baseball. I did work at La Force for a long time. I also had 3 football seasons and 2 wrestling seasons. But the normal day is pretty long, especially during football season and baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Those get to long days. I'd say school, it was school, nap, practice, and then straight to work, and I'd be out working pretty late, and then I'd come home and we'd restart.
Yeah.
But you kind of just get into a rhythm, because then you had the Friday night lights, and then from there you had Saturday practice and Sunday off. That's kind of my rule of thumb that I tell my mom. I never plan anything on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because then you always find time to do something with yourself. You never really, oh shoot, I ran out of time to even lay down. You always get time directed to yourself,
right,
if you at least keep one day open. So
yeah.
I always keep Sundays open.
Well, that's pretty smart. I hope you continue with that.
Me too. The schedule gets tight, for sure.
So you've been at East High School your entire high school career?
Yes.
What do you like about East?
It gets pretty loud, right? But I do like the connections that you can form with people. I do like the wide variety of people that you meet, see, and get to talk to. There's a lot of different stories, and if you can listen to at least a couple of them, I think they can change a lot of your perspectives. And there's branches that a lot of people don't know about. So I spent a lot of my mornings, my sophomore, or my junior and my senior year, down with Ben in the basement of Green Bay East, not the basement, but the City Stadium Automotive area, right? The little bay down there. And being down there and seeing different perspectives of the working world, and not only that, but then going upstairs and flipping over to 2 history classes or an ELA class, you really get to build these structures with students, teachers, staff members, inside and outside of school. So that is something I like about Green Bay East. There's a wide variety of everything there, I think.
So Grant, you got involved in City Stadium Automotive.
Yes.
What year?
That would be, I think interviews came around my sophomore year, and they didn't start until my junior year, my second trimester, my junior year.
That sounds right. Okay.
And then that ends second trimester of your senior year.
What interests you? Why did you decide, you know what, that's something I want to do?
Realistically, I got an email, and I looked at it, and I said, well, this is kind of a cool opportunity. I'm eligible. I'm interested in the trades. I think this is something that could benefit me for sure, even if the automotive branch isn't something I'd like to do. So looking at that, I went down, and I've always liked a challenge. And I had my interview with Ben, and it went really good. And I guess that's kind of how the ball got rolling. I'd say it was just a chance, you know what I mean? It was an opportunity, and it's if you take that opportunity, and I took it, and I think it was a really good choice for me.
Yeah. I was going to save this question for the end, but I'm going to use it now because you just alluded to it. If you had to give advice to freshmen, sophomores, juniors still at East High School,
Yeah.
what would you tell them?
I guess I'd tell them to keep their heads screwed on straight, because there's going to be a lot of obstacles. There's going to be a lot of opportunities, good and bad, and you have to sort those out yourself, and you have to filter those out yourself. And there's going to be a lot of hard choices, and you have to weigh those options, not only for current times, but for future times. So you really have to think ahead, because right now is not only important for now, but it's really important for later, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because everything that you do now reflects on what happens later. So
Yeah.
I guess when City Stadium came around, at first it was a wake-up call, right? College is a lot different than high school. But once I straightened out my ducks and I got my ducks in a line, it was probably the best decision I've made. It was by far, it was one of the coolest experiences. You can't even really explain it.
Yeah, you're a very dedicated young man. Can you tell us a little bit about the Youth Apprenticeship?
So I went down to the office. Truth be told, I was looking for a job. She asked what field you were looking for, and I said something in the trades, something more like welding. And I picked welding because, well, I'm already focusing on automotive. I would like to get into the welding because why not have multiple pathways in your future, especially if something doesn't work out. And they get you right set up. You sign a couple of pieces of papers, and then you're working in the real world along with grown adults, and you get to feel for the real world workspace. They do a great job of separating it. It's not like you're at work for school. It's like you go to school and then you go to work. You can't even tell that it's tied together. But it gave me a lot of great opportunities there as well. The force was great. It was one of my favorite. It really was my favorite workplace. I met a lot of great people. I had a lot of great opportunities there as well. And I got to see how that side of the world works. Manufacturing keeps everything going.
Yeah.
You know, you can't walk into a building without opening a door, and someone has to make that door frame. So manufacturing is a big cornerstone, and not many people know that. But getting to step inside of that and seeing how an assembly line works and how the manufacturing floors work, and everything was a big eye-opener, as well as great experiences.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is very great to show commitment like that on a resume as well. So I guess that was my YA experience. It was overall amazing.
Yeah, that's great. You saying that causes me to not at all be surprised about what your plans are after high school. Can you tell us about that?
So June 8th, I leave for the Marine Corps for recruit training, and I plan to go into aviation mechanics for that. I guess I was looking for, again, another challenge to get myself tied up into, a big commitment, and something to keep me walking a straight line, I guess, right? And truthfully, classrooms were not my favorite.
Okay.
So something to get me into the working force, something to get me a part of something bigger than myself. I guess the Marine Corps' biggest saying is technology and everything has changed around the Marine Corps, but the Marine Corps hasn't changed. Their standards hasn't changed. Their work ethic hasn't changed. Nothing about the Marine Corps itself has changed. So I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself.
Grant, you said you signed on early on, which was really unique.
So I went in my junior year. I was talking to him long before May, a couple months before May, and I found out May 15th is the earliest date you can enlist. Well, they sent me down May 15th about 7 a.m. to get down there and get those papers. Milwaukee, down to MEPS to get all those papers signed, and fill out all that paperwork and swear in and fingerprints, all that sort of stuff that they need from you. But that they told me that was very unique from Green Bay East. They haven't gotten someone to jump out of the normal societies there and be a part of something so different.
Yeah.
And be kind of, in a certain way, a leader to a new path.
Yeah.
Because someone has to make the path for people to follow. They have to know it's an option.
Especially at such a young age.
So it's a big commitment for us at the time a 17-year-old to make. You have to know that's what you want, and you have to be sure that you're going to do it from start to finish. I weighed my options, and when you look at the reward and you look at what you have to do, I think that is 100% something I'd like to be a part of. And I just like the morals that come with it as well. And I do like to be a part of something bigger than myself, and I do like to challenge myself. So that's why I found that.
Can't wait to watch you grow. No doubt that it's going to be amazing. You had said about the classrooms really weren't for you, and that's something that I really love about Green Bay Area Public School District is that there's a variety of options. City Stadium, you can actually get out of the classroom and use your hands and apply some skills that are going to help you lifelong. Right?
Even with, from what I know, I was never a part of it, but the agriculture aspect of Green Bay East, I mean, every other day on the announcements I hear, hey, grab your rain jackets, we're going outside. And I think that's a big part for a lot of these kids coming into Green Bay East is actually knowing that there's more out there for them than just school, than just going into a normal workplace, than just going into a normal habit of thinking that you're never going to be more than society can be, or you're going to be a part of what society tells you you can be. But I think it's big for kids to know that they can be a part of more if they really wanted to, and that there's more options out there. So hopefully at the end of this year total, graduating, I should have around 30 college credits, along with my high school credits.
Okay, all from NWTC.
Well, so there's 24 from NWTC and then 6 from Green Bay East.
Okay, wow. Okay.
So I've got college math right now and English composition.
Oh, okay.
Those classes, English composition is definitely not my strong suit, right?
Okay.
Definitely not my strong suit, but I'm pushing through, and I should have around 30 college credits when I finish out of high school.
That's amazing.
So it was definitely a journey, but it is possible. I get a free rank up after recruit training for how many college credits I have.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it paid off in the long run, too.
Yeah, you didn't even know that when you got in.
No. So if you have 20 college credits, you get a free rank up at the end of your recruit training.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So it's like a bonus, kind of.
Yeah, that's great.
You get paid a little bit more. You get rank up comes with its obvious benefits.
You definitely took advantage of the opportunities that the district offered you, and it's really cool to see it come to fruition. You've got a big week, a big couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You are literally going to graduate from NWTC before you graduate from high school.
Yes. Yeah, I get to walk across the stage tonight, actually. 6 o'clock at the Resch Center. I'll get to walk across the stage. And then, tomorrow I'm going to Six Flags for my physics class. And then Thursday it's back to hitting the ground running. And I have a cool event with City Stadium Automotive back at the shop where we get to celebrate. And I think the news usually goes there.
They do.
And there's certificates and
it's
so on and
deal.
so forth. It's pretty unique and cool for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not aware of how big the senior class is, but I am aware that only about 10 of us completed City Stadium Automotive. So that's a pretty small percentage of a group of individuals who dedicated a lot of their time. And it was at times strenuous, and it was at times hard, but it was definitely, if I could go back, I'd do it over a million times again. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Grant, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy man, but we are grateful.
A little bit. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a great opportunity to come here. Again, this is another one of those beautiful opportunities that I didn't ever imagine myself being a part of.
Yeah.
So I would like to say thank you for having me up here.
Yeah, it was definitely our pleasure. I'm joined by David Johns, Associate Superintendent of Continuous Improvement. Hi, David. It's hard to believe that we are so close to the end of the school year already.
I know, it is amazing. Here we are, the last days of March, May. See, that's how quickly it went. We're already to May.
Just like that.
Yeah.
We started the school year with the theme To the Stars.
Right.
And the goal was to get the community wrapping their arms around our students and helping our students see the potential. Is there anything that stands out to you about how that's played out for the year?
Yeah, I've thought about that theme a lot, and students seeing their potential is a really important part of it. I think a couple of other important parts that I was noticing is all of the adults in the system also seeing their potential to really help elevate, outcomes for our kids. And like any time you take on something as big as space travel, it's got to be a team effort and it's got to be collaborative. And so I've really appreciated how hard the team, every single person working with children in our district is working together, recognizing that our sole purpose is to elevate learning for our kids. That theme really has me thinking about how challenging something is to actually go to space, and we've accomplished a lot of, I think, equally impressive things this year.
I like that.
There's been some really amazing collaboration among staff at all levels of the organization to define what quality instruction really looks like, and we've leveraged a really important partnership we have with the Unbound Ed organization to really create the foundations for that, but those words are ours. When we talk about what instruction should look like in every single classroom, that's our creation, and it's beginning to come true in every single classroom. Where we're noticing things, pretty significantly is in the area of early literacy. We're noticing that when our teachers believe in themselves, believe in their other teachers as colleagues and as partners, an important planning process, when they understand and believe in the materials that the board has invested in, the community's dollars in, our students have some pretty amazing learning experiences. We get to see that through some early gains in literacy that we're really proud of, and again, it's going to be so important for our students as they get older and work through our system and ultimately feel confident taking college level work. We recently reported out to the board an area where we continue to lead the state, and that's in post-secondary credits as well as industry credentials. And you need to be a reader by third grade if you want those things to be true for you later on. And so that commitment is really important, and that's a through line.
And as you say that, I'm thinking of, I picture the portrait of a graduate because it all ties in perfectly with what you were just talking about. We are 1 year out from the board approving the strategic plan and focusing on the 5-year goals for the district. And it makes me think about things like our teacher retention. In the state of Wisconsin, retention for teachers is about 85%, and we've hit 91.8, I think. So that stands out to me when we talk about strategic goals. What stands out for you?
Yeah, all of those things fit together. I think some of the things that I probably spend more of my time focused on are the things that are more student-facing and instructional-facing, but that's tied into teachers believing in the work and wanting to come back every day and have another great day at school, just like we want kids to have another great day at school.
Yeah, great point.
What I appreciate most about our strategic plan and our board's commitment to the plan is that we set out to be statewide leaders in everything that we name in that plan. There is not a single area or priority where we are simply settling for being a little bit better than we were in the past. We're really setting that bar really high, and it shows in where we sit with teacher retention, where we sit with post-secondary credits, where we sit with industry credentials and so on, where we sit with the seal of biliteracy and our students who are graduating fluent in at least 2 languages. And I say at least 2 because some of them it's even more than that, including the state's first American Sign Language seal of biliteracy recipient. That's
right. Yeah. I think back to also the video that kicked off the school year, the Stars theme, and how, again, we're setting really high standards for our students and our staff and our community. And I think about some of the celebrations that are going on right now as we're entering graduation season. What stands out to me, for example, is the Do Great Things at West High School, where Jim and Tracy Ryan donate funds to help support full tuition for some students to go to Marquette University. their initiative includes funding to support NWTC attendance and UWGB. Some of the concerts, the Honors Choir concert that happened at West High School happens only once every 3 years, and it's absolutely fantastic. What kind of celebrations stand out to you right now?
Yeah, this is a month of big moments and big events, and those are really exciting. I think they represent the work that our kids put in all year long, and so I also like to reflect at the end of a school year on some of the little victories and the small victories and the things that happen in one classroom in one school. And either a teacher makes a breakthrough with a new strategy, a student gets connected or hooked with something that they're going to develop a passion with for their whole life. A student completes a book on their own for the very first time, or makes a breakthrough in how they understand numbers and the beauty of math and those kind of things, or paints the perfect picture, or tunes their violin just right. And so every time I see these large showcases, I think about like what small wins had to contribute to this, and it's I don't know. It's a very rewarding way to think about the year.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see what happens in the district moving forward. Thank you for joining today, David.
Yeah, thanks. I have a favor to ask you, Vicki. I've had the pleasure of participating in this podcast a few times, and you've asked some really provocative and insightful questions.
Oh, boy.
I wonder if you would be willing to maybe trade seats with me, and in your last podcast event with us, maybe I could ask you some questions.
It would be my pleasure.
Okay. I've been really looking forward to this because there's a lot of things I'd like to still learn about you.
Oh, no. Okay.
Okay, so let's trade seats.
All right.
Okay, I brought some questions.
Well, this is uncomfortable.
How you doing?
Good. Thank you.
I have some questions for you.
Okay.
And it's not just me. This is what our viewers have been wondering for quite some time. So
The viewers?
Yeah. I have a few questions from Podcast Nation. I'd like, Vicki, if you could do a little bit of reflecting over your years in our school district. Maybe just highlight a few of your favorite memories or some things that stand out. See, these aren't hard.
Oh, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Things that stand out, you know what, anytime we face, I thought you were going to throw me a curve. That's a good question. Anytime we've faced a challenge, what stands out to me is how the community, staff, parents, even the students came in, wrapped their arms around the problem, and helped us come to resolution.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question.
You're known for being a really strong and steady leader through those challenging moments. And my second question was actually going to ask you about those moments, but you answered the first one pretty clearly, that you know you're surrounded by people that provide the support and the belief in us as we work through those things.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes it's easy to focus on the challenges of the role and get kind of caught up in the moment of when things get difficult or challenging, and it always seems to be that there's something.
Right.
Fair enough.
Right.
What do you think about that pulls you through those moments in terms of maybe a silver lining or some successes that you've had that are just on the other side of the next challenge?
I think for me it's more of in those moments of where you're dealing with something very stressful and significant, it's the ability to stand back and watch the magic happen. Because we are truly surrounded by very, very good people in this district, in this community, and to see how much they care and really want us to succeed as a district. The solutions are out there. It's just a matter of having the right people involved in the process to help us get there.
Yeah. Appreciate
Did
that.
I answer that okay?
Yeah, I had the answer key right here. You absolutely nailed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a few other questions submitted from people that wanted to know a little bit
viewers?
more. Yeah.
The viewers.
Yeah. The student wants to know, this year we set out our sights to go to the stars.
Sure.
What's your favorite star?
What's my favorite star?
Yeah.
Besides the sun, or?
That's a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have, is that?
Vega's okay.
Okay.
What's your favorite star?
Well, and
Or do you mean like actor?
I don't think that's what they meant, because that's not what we meant with the theme.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay. Least favorite. Do you have a least favorite star?
Let's go with the black hole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see how that checks out with the astronomers. But,
Okay.
This is someone who knows a little bit about your interests away from work. Soon you'll have some free time on your hands, and I think a lot of people know you enjoy cooking and being creative in the kitchen.
Yeah.
If you could make an after-school snack for the entire school district to enjoy, what would that be?
Okay, so technically I do the dishes at home. I don't do the cooking. So
Definitely think about cleanup when you answer this one.
Do chips count? Bags of chips.
Bags of chips?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would definitely be the go-to appetizer.
Okay, and again, this was asked by a student, so if you could let us know what day you'd like us to all come over to have that snack, we can get that information out there, right? Okay.
I'm going to get back to you on that.
Chips at Vicki's house after school, next school year, on a day that you'll... Well, yeah, because you'll have all your free time then.
Okay.
Okay, here's the last question. This is actually from me. This is kind of a personal one.
Oh, boy.
It's well known that you have an interesting take on the calendar and when the year actually begins.
Okay, David.
Can you help our viewers and listeners understand why you think the year begins in the month of July, which is well known as the 7th month of the year?
I will tell you that anybody that's in education clearly knows that July 1st is the beginning of the new year. Period.
Well, Vicki, I think that the fact that we could have some fun with these questions points to one of the things that I get the most enjoyment out of working with you around, and that is your sense of humor and enjoyment and just constantly finding value and joy in the work and the people that you work with. So thank you for being a great sport with those questions. There's a couple things we'll have to fact check, like whether a black hole is a star and all those other things, but we'll get back to you, and then you'll give us that date for the snack, and that'll be
absolutely.
Just
I will follow up on that.
That wraps up today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed this 4th installment of our GBAPS story. I've enjoyed being a part of these opportunities with you all and sharing this time with you, Vicki. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Hi, everybody. How was that?
You can just start talking to David. You don't have to say hi, everybody.
And welcome back.
It's her last one, and she's like, oh, how do I do this anymore?
We hope you enjoyed those words from our sponsors.
Okay, all right. Just kidding.